Let's assume for a second we agree that what you are is consciousness. And the one thing that we know for sure is that you're having an experience. Why? Because imagine a room full of people, everyone wearing a VR set, nobody exempt. Now it's a very sophisticated VR set. It gives you the full sensation, full body sensation, not only visual and auditory. Everything. And everyone in the room wears the same VR suit. Nobody knows they're wearing a VR suit because they've been wearing it since the first day. But they're all interacting with each other. Everyone's wearing a VR suit. Nobody knows they're wearing it, and nobody knows how it works. You can't refute that. You have no way, because all the research, all the experimentation that is done is still done by people or souls wearing the same VR set. Well, let's stick to what we know. We're having an experience. As a consciousness having an experience, we may call it as the human experience. Now, the human experience has a certain template, and there's certain things that happen to any human. One of them is pain. That's a form of an experience within the human experience. And for everyone, pain enters the show very early on, in the beginning of our life. Somewhere, most people between the age of 0 to 4. Some form of pain, doesn't matter what. For somebody it's minute, a mother that didn't give enough love. And for some others, it's horrendous events, like young children in war zones. All kinds of horrible things happen. But it doesn't matter what they think. What matters is, but pain entered the scene. Now it's part of the show. Now, as such, it has an impact. It builds a certain experience, an experience intertwined with pain. And that experience is growing. The consciousness is growing and becomes the experience of a teenager, and a young adult, and a full adult, midlife, older age, etc. It has a certain template. We all know it. You may ask yourself, what's the purpose of pain in the show? Why is it part of the experience? It's not mandatory if you think about it. You don't have to have a human experience with pain. Maybe you can have one without. Nicer. Why not? But everyone has it. I don't know anyone that didn't or doesn't have pain in their life. And I also don't know anyone that pain didn't enter their story early on. Sometimes we don't remember it. Sometimes we're in denial. Sometimes we suppress it, but it's always there. So what is the purpose? The biggest experiences in our human experience are where we have a big emotion. Those have the most lasting impact, imprint on our experience. Big pain or big love, it's always a big imprint. Why? Because we sense, with all senses, the biggest imprint is the biggest emotion. And where do we feel the emotion? Where's the center of sensation? We feel our emotions in the heart. Mind you, there are people, like I used to be, that their emotional system is completely shut down, so they don't feel any emotion. They think of an emotion, but they don't feel an emotion. And they confuse the two. They don't know because the emotional system just doesn't operate. I used to be like that. Not anymore. Now, most people have some level of sensation, somewhere in the gray zone. Darker gray, lighter gray, doesn't matter. Gray. Which means that your emotional system is not fully functional. You get to experience some part. Now, if the biggest experiences in the human experience are the ones involved big emotion, and you can't fully feel, you're not having a full experience. You're not getting to the peaks. It's like playing on a piano on the center of the keyboard. No highs, no lows. It can be a nice tune, but not. Ask yourself, do you want the full experience? Or are you okay with the middle ground? That's the real choice everyone has. There's no bad or good, there's no right or wrong. It's a choice. Are we willing to compromise? Or are we going for the gold standard? Do we want the full experience? I, for one, want the full experience. I love the diversity of it. That's what attracts me. Sometimes it's painful, that's okay. Part of the experience. If you wish to have the full experience, then you need to enable yourself to feel full on. Those are the most expanded feeling. Imagine yourself standing in front of a beautiful nature scenery. I feel my heart expand. When you held your firstborn, I knew my heart was bigger than the building. With the second and with the third, I was surprised. I thought it can't go bigger with the second. I was worried. Then I discovered it can. We need to unlock the heart. So if you're consciousness or a soul or a spirit, take your pick, and you're having an experience, think of your heart as the platform on which the experience really runs. Your heart is the apparatus that provides you the most of the human experience, the most pain and the most joy, the most expansion. Weirdly enough, it's also one of the central components in our operating system. One key difference between a human being and a corpse is a beating heart. Stops beating, corpse. Beating, human. Another interesting fact about the heart is that it's also the energetic center. If you ever seen a thermal photo of a human, always the most red where the heart is. It's the center of our energy. So it's the center of our energy, it's the center of our experience, it gives us the most of what is available as a human experience. Interesting. When we experience pain in the beginning of our life, what can a child, a defenseless child, do to defend themselves? They experience big pain and they need to defend themselves. They can't escape, they can't evade it, they're dependent on whoever around them, but those are the same people usually that inflict the pain. Not in all cases. And again, it's not about fault, it's not about something malicious necessarily. It can be just life circumstances. The parents had to work and the child had to stay with the babysitter. That's enough. That's pain. Pain enters the scene early. And a defenseless child has no way to cope with it. So the only thing they can do, and we all do that, is numb the center of sensation. We reduce pain by reducing how much we feel. And think of it kind of an armor or a crust that we build. Now, as pain enters more, we build a thicker crust. Every time pain enters, and we can't avoid to do something about it, we build a little bit more of an armor. Now, armor, like any armor, it doesn't let anything in, but you can't let anything out. Which means you can't also express yourself fully. That creates a status quo. That's what creates this situation that we only play the middle of the keyboard. We can't fulfill fully not what we emit and not what is towards us. That brings in friction. That brings in pain. Now, for some people it's thicker, they don't feel anything. I was there. And for some people it's a bit thinner, so they feel something, but not fully. It creates frustration. It creates misalignment Think about romantic relationship, love relationship. When one party is more open-hearted than the other, feels their heart more than the other party, it creates frustration for both. It's misalignment. It creates fights. It creates tension. The good news is there's a way to get rid of this armor and feel fully. If that's the center of the experience, that is how you allow yourself the full experience. Getting rid of the armor is the process of healing. The heart is where we feel the most pain. When we felt pain the first few times and we started closing the heart instinctively, and we had no other defense mechanism, we started creating the crust. Gradually, it grew and grew and grew and grew, but we became adults. It's still there. Think of it as locking the pain inside. The pain is still there, it didn't go anywhere. It's stored in our system. Now we don't feel it because there is crust. So we came to a status quo. We okay to live with it. Doesn't bother us, here and there maybe sometimes. And that's it, we'll go to a good place. For some it works. For some, the status quo involves a lot of pain, daily. For some, it involves loneliness, not feeling seen or heard. It comes with a lot of painful events, the status quo, because the pain is still there. It affects how we perceive reality, how we interact with the world, how we create our experience. The fear infests our perceptual structure. It's like termites. It infests everything once it's spread, once it's in the system, like malware. Good news, there are ways to clear it. How do you clear it? That's the healing process. The healing process is removing the armor from the heart. Why? Because as long as the heart is encased and we store the pain, we exhibit certain behaviors. There's certain limitations to our experience in the sense that we avoid certain situations. There are triggers. Triggers can be a certain person, we don't talk to them or we can't stand them. It can be a place, a sound, a smell, it can be anything, sometimes a word. Sometimes it's even our imagination that triggers it. It affects how we relate to our reality. It affects what experience we are having. And as long as fear is significantly in the system, our experience will include pain repetitively. To get rid of it, you need to remove the armor, reframe how you relate to past events that imprinted the pain. It's like disinfecting the wound and then patching it up. What does that mean? That means installing a new belief system inside. New perspectives about life experiences, about situations, about people, about the past. It's not forgetting. You remember, it just doesn't activate you anymore. I can talk about my trauma without shedding a tear. I can talk about it today, it doesn't activate. I couldn't bring it to memory for years. When I did, I would choke, couldn't talk, start crying. Full healing is when those effects disappear, they dissipate. My emotional system today is at its prime. I'm happy how it functions. I can feel and I can express. Anyone can do that journey. You can eliminate all the fears and all the pains you have. Pain is part of our experience that is unpleasant. We feel contracted, chaotic energy in the body. We feel misaligned. We feel frozen. In many cases, it translates to cold sensation in our body in different parts. We feel stiff. We can't think right. We're not in control. We feel small and insignificant. Pain causes all kinds of symptoms. The common denominator is it's extremely unpleasant. Pain is at the root of all the things we don't like as humans. Everything we do is motivated by improving our feeling. We know what feel good feels like. We feel relaxed, we feel expanded, there's no tension, everything's flowing, you feel realized, you feel good. Naturally, we're wired for it. Pain is the opposite. Now, where do you feel? Where's the center of sensation? Where's the center of feeling? The biggest feeling is in the heart. The center of sensation is in the heart. If you want to feel good, it also includes increasing your capacity to feel good. You need bigger capacity. That's why you need to take the armor off. It will allow your heart to expand. To do that, you need to take off the armor. Taking off the armor means the pain that is stored will come up. It's like a pressure cooker. Pain that's been stored for many years under a lid, boiling. When you open the valve on a pressure cooker, the first thing that comes out is the steam, the top of the boiling water. Now, pain and fear, which is an outcome of pain, is like that. You kept this pressure cooker for many years, take off the lid, first comes the pain. That's why a lot of people prefer to keep the lid on. They're afraid of the pain that will come up. That's the biggest deterrent for you to live your best life ever, beyond your imagination. That's it. Now, the process is scary, but after the initial pain, you might discover you have a very nice dish. You need to go through this stage. We're operating a simple equation. Is the pain that I got under control, or going through it for a short time, but having a much, much better life after? Long pain under control, for many it's not under control, so they're kind of getting pushed to that side. But for many people it's under control, so live with the pain for the rest of my life, or big pain for a short time, my ultimate life afterwards. Why not everyone doing the journey? Because some people lost the belief that it is available. They don't believe it's available. They live in a society that most people live with pain. So, okay, that's what I can do. Can do better. No, wrong. You can do better. Everyone can do better. It's up to you if you want to compromise for the average or have the gold standard.